Welcome back to Boopington Farm. I want to talk to you about the first stages of going to trauma-informed therapy. I've got some notes. I'm going to look at them because I'm not an absolute professional at videoing yet, and I don't have an auto cue. So there's just a whole load of things that I don't have. First video, anxiety, nerves, sharing this with you. Um, but I want to get into the creating side of things instead of just thinking about it and not doing it, which is what I've done. Spent quite a long time is been thinking about doing this, how I'm going to do this, what I'm going to do with my videos, and then completely not doing anything, which is really annoying because my brain is like saying you must plan and you must do things and you must do this way and that way, and I found myself not doing it. So instead of actually thinking about it and planning and do it and then not doing, I'm just going to do it. So hopefully you've watched the introduction video, so you know that I'm training to be a psychotherapist. I am slowly working my way through qualifications, and this is a queer, safe space for marginalised people to start to learn and understand about the therapeutic process and get over any fears they may have for starting, and to also share the benefits of it, because I'm a survivor of trauma as well, multiple different types, and the therapeutic process works. Trauma-informed therapy follows tried and trusted methodologies, different theories, and different approaches, and they all get brought together in the safe space that is the therapeutic journey that you will experience. So the first, there's three things that I want to talk about as to something that you will need to understand. Uh, and I found that when I learnt these three things, I wished I knew about them earlier, because I was personally not. I don't think afraid is the right word, but I was incredibly hesitant to start therapy because I didn't understand these things. And as a queer person myself, I have experienced therapy, um, not trauma informed therapy, but I've had multiple other different types, and in each scenario I've faced barriers to therapy because the person that has been giving me therapy didn't follow these three core skills of provision of therapy. So essentially it was really difficult for me to find someone who was using these three things. Number one, congruence. The therapist or counsellor provides congruence by showing up each and every time, and when they say they're going to do something, they do it. There's no wishy-washy kind of oh, no, I don't really know about this, and wavy hands rubbish that where they you never actually get to the point. I and for myself, I'm incredibly demanding. And I know I am. When I was trying to find a therapist and I couldn't find one to actually just show up on time or to be present in the session, to listen to me as well. Sometimes having to repeat yourself 3 or 4 times is so frustrating when you are fighting urges inside yourself to open up, and you know you have to be vulnerable, but as a queer person you spend your entire life having to protect this yourself and your identity, because you know that society is against you. So when a therapist shows up and actually proves that each week that they are there for you and they care for you, and that they are doing the things that they say they will do, when a therapist uses congruence and demonstrates to their client or helpee that they are there for them, this, without anything else happening, builds trust. And you will begin to trust in your therapist. That's really important, that you find registered therapists. And when you start doing things like trauma-informed therapy, you want reputable. You want to make sure that they have their membership. When you approach them and you sign up to them, you get a therapeutic contract, and you understand the boundaries and what to expect, what to not expect before you start therapy. All these things are part of this congruent state of being that the therapist gives to you and teaches you to have as well. That's the other thing, is before therapy I was all over the place, up and down, complete mess, chaotic life. And then learning to have the congruence myself, as demonstrated by my therapist who provided it to me, absolutely life-changing. All these things that you think of that can change from it. How to be present in situations, how to not get distracted by other things that are going on around me when I'm providing a helping conversation to someone, have all come from learning congruence. So it's the first thing, and it's really important. Number 2, this is one of my favorite of all: empathy. And it makes me pause, because before I started trauma-informed therapy, I had switched off my empathy deliberately as a response to trauma. And this has been switched off for a really, really long time. And I had to keep it switched off, because actually experiencing empathy started to unlock things in my own mind, but it also started to help me understand other people's feelings. Empathy from the therapeutic process is when the therapist can experience what you are feeling, and uses this to understand how to then tailor your therapeutic session. So how do we provide you with the tools that you need to learn to manage your symptoms or experiences, day-to-day life, how you can take all of these things forwards. But in the process of doing this, you will actually learn much more about your own empathy and your own empathic skill set that you will be able to take forwards, and how to use this. Like I said, I switched mine off to such a small level that it needed to come out, and it needed to help me become, in my own journey, it helped me become my authentic self by experiencing the empathy of my therapist. It helped me look at my own life and say, okay, where have I been switching this off, and where have I been lacking in empathy? For example, I could have empathy for animals, especially my dogs, but when it came to other people, I found it really, really difficult to allow my empathy to experience what other people were feeling. So I had minimalized it in multiple different ways, and this had been affecting me in immeasurable ways. But as a trauma survivor, it was necessary for me to switch off my empathy because from my personal experience, having empathy was dangerous to understand what other people were feeling. So in my circumstances and in my experiences, it was a safety mechanism for me to switch it off. In the therapeutic process, learning empathy has been life-changing, because now when I understand and I'm hearing somebody who is involved in a helping conversation, I can understand their thoughts, feelings and behaviors by experiencing their emotions, but now not letting it overwhelm me, so that then I can do the therapeutic process, which is to provide guidance on how to get to the root cause of things. So three. Three. Unconditional positive regard. Okay, so now that this is a really big thing for the queer community. We don't get a lot of this. Let's be honest. It's difficult for us as a group to say that I go out in society and I go and live my best life, my authentic life, and everybody I meet understands who I am, and if they don't understand who I am, they don't care, and everybody greets me with a warm, happy smile, accepts me for who I am, has no prejudice, no bias, no negativity associated with me being a queer person. But that's not reality. But in the therapeutic process, we have something called unconditional positive regard. It's absolutely incredible when you think about it. Is it so simple and yet so not obvious for so many people? When you meet someone and you see how they're dressed, how they wear their hair, how they style themselves, how they behave, how they act, colour of their skin, social, economic background, cultural, ethnicity, education, all these different types of things, people jump to conclusions and they make assumptions and they introduce their own personal bias, and that personal bias may have come from their upbringing, their family, societal systems that they subscribe to, family systems. They may have experienced neglect or rejection or any number of different things that cause them to say, okay, I meet this person and they've got hair like this, they wear clothes like this, their skin color is this, and their sexuality is this, and they go, right, all these things, I don't like this person. But it doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense, because you don't see children hating other children because they have a different skin color, or because a boy wears a dress, or a girl wears jeans. You don't see it happening, because children don't have prejudice. Adults have prejudice. Adults have bias, because they are taught to have that bias and judgment. So if children don't have this and adults do, the part in between childhood and adulthood means indoctrination into systems of control. And in doing so, intergenerational trauma, societal systems, family systems, toxic systems teach people to dislike other people based on what they look like, where they're from, the colour of their skin, what their education is, what their background is, where they live, anything. And it literally doesn't make sense, because it is quackery. It is the patriarchy. It is systems of control that want to stay in control. So they want people to have bias, and they want people to dislike other people for no apparent reason other than it keeps them at the top of these systems in power. But in the therapeutic setting, in session, unconditional positive regard is sometimes the first place that many of us will ever receive this and know what it is to come to session and for somebody to not care that you have a different skin color and not be concerned about whether you are gay, straight, bi, or anything else, whether you are trans or cisgender, whether you have pink hair, blue hair, green hair, whether you like to wear all denim and double denim, which I am not against doing double denim, and or whether you like to wear knee-high boots and a tutu. It does not matter, because you are going to be accepted for who you are. When, and as an example, when I first attended trauma-informed therapy, my own expectation was that I was going to be judged, because multiple other types of therapists that I'd met had judged me. And when I went to trauma-informed therapy, and it's important that I make this distinction, because trauma-informed therapy and psychodynamic therapy, really, really top-notch therapists who live and breathe these three tenets of therapy, they will hold you in unconditional positive regard. They will use their empathy to understand you, and they will demonstrate their congruence each and every session that you have with them to prove to you and earn your trust, so that you can start to open up, and you can eventually, over time, open the boxes in your mind and in your body, with your body memories as well, and you will be able to open these up and look at the things that you have never been able to look at before. And if you go to a session and you don't see this, and if you do feel judgment, if you are looked at in a certain way, like someone gives you scorn, or someone looks down at you, Or when you tell them, like for me, and I join a session, I go, well, I'm a queer person. And then people would the therapist that I had once would shift in the chair and would be like, a queer person. I'm not sure how I can deal with this. Visible discomfort and in them, and a whole host of projection. So it was very much like they weren't able to deal with their own internal thoughts and feelings, so they had to project them onto me and judge me. Say hi, Bobo. Hi, baby. Hello, gorgeous. So this is my baby Bobo, who she has been on her sheepskin blanket. Therapy, when you start, for many people, they think it's going to be painful and it's going to hurt them, and that's a yes and no answer, because for many people therapy can be painful because it unlocks memories. You will work through issues that you never thought that you had, and that you will be opening your eyes to what's inside of you for the first time for many of us, to notice these things, and that's called shadow work. But to be aware of it, yes, sometimes it can be painful. But for someone who who started the journey in an incredible amount of psychological torment to where I am now, it is life-changing in a positive way, because you do not need to be ruled by your trauma. You can be free of your symptoms, of your anxiety, of your shakes, of your tremors, your cold sweats, complex post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. You can be free of these things, and you can reclaim your life from your experiences. And it is so important that you understand that this is available to you as a trauma sufferer, that you can go from the beginning of your journey and thinking, what am I going to do, and what's therapy going to be like, and how am I going to turn up to session, and what's going to happen in session, and how is my therapist going to accept me, and how is my experience going to be positive, in that your therapist is going to use the three things to demonstrate to you and earn your trust. And in doing so, they are going to guide you through the journey and the process. And you will heal. If you give your complete self to therapy and you trust the therapeutic process, you will heal. There is no in between. You will heal. And I am living proof of this, because, and I need to say this, I will keep saying this throughout the videos and throughout the journey and all of the things that I share with you. You are going to heal by taking part in trauma-informed therapy. Empathy, congruence, and unconditional positive regard. They are the three core skills that you will be shown, and I hope you will join me on this journey as we work through the therapeutic process and understanding how therapy can change your life for the better. So that's thank you and bye bye from myself and Boo Boo, and a little tail wag there from me as well, baby. I love you, girl.